This is Phantom Electric Ghost, and we're talking to Michael's Lyric, author, visual artist for Fortune 500 companies, music producer, all without using hands. Now go to www.michaelslyric.com. Some music is produced hands-free, only by using voice from start to finish, including mixing and mastering on some instrumental tracks. Michael's Lyric music is available on all major streaming platforms: Spotify, Pandora Radio, Apple Music, YouTube, and more. This is a non-traditional interview. We sent the questions ahead of time to Michael. He sent us back a WAV file, and that WAV file is then spliced with the audio file, WAV file that we're asking the questions with. And then it's all combined, and we create this podcast, which gives Michael this opportunity to be on our show in a non-traditional way. Now, the first question we're going to ask is, what motivates you?
Hello, dear listener. It is my honor to have your attention. A huge appreciation to our host, Phantom Electric Ghost. Thank you for having me. So to start, what motivates me? It is a combination of desires. Ever since I can remember myself, I wanted to participate, to contribute, to assist. Growing up with cerebral palsy, it was not always clear how to do that. And that in itself motivates me too. The challenge. There is another thing that motivates. One day, people might discover everything that I have created. Of course, my main desire is to be as good of a person as I can be.
Why do you do what you do?
Whether it is music, artwork, poetry, or anything else, I love what I do. That is why I do it, simple as that. I think that it is a universal creative spirit that is in all of us. We live to create, but not only create, also to share our creations. I believe that everyone has a fate and a destiny. Our fate is to support the very system that is giving us life. I have always tried to do exactly that, to the best of my ability. I do what I do because I want to share and give as much as possible.
What are the key lessons that your audience should take away from your work?
Key lessons. Well, I feel that I am not a teacher, a preacher, a spiritual guru, or anything of that sort. So, I am not sure if the audience will find any lessons in my work. Michael's Lyric book series, music, artwork is guaranteed to provide quite the experience. What the audience will take away from that experience is entirely up to the audience. I provide the information, maybe some knowledge. It is up to you to decide what to do with it. If anyone shall find any wisdom in anything I create, think of it as a message from the universal mind. Now, I am not saying that I fear to be responsible for what I say or do. I am just saying that the credit is not all mine. My work, in some ways, represents a culmination of generations before me.
What made you want to be a creator?
What made me want to be a creator? As a child, I saw the beautiful world. I wanted to replicate some of it by drawing. I was always covered in crayons and chalk, pencils and markers, everywhere. Again, I am not able to use my hands with accuracy. So as you can imagine, I did use my mouth to grab whatever drawing utensil that I needed. I would listen to music records from the time when they were not made from vinyl. I listened to cassette tapes, radio. I wanted to be just like those artists. I wanted to make beautiful music, just like they did. I would also read many, many books, especially poetry and science fiction. And I too wanted to write the most captivating verse, the most amazing story. From a very early age, it seems that I knew that I can do just as good, and I always wanted to share my abilities.
Tell me 3 things that folks should know about you that maybe they wouldn't expect.
3 things that folks should know about me. As I think about this, I cannot help to feel a bit nervous. Like, what if this is to be my last interview? This is getting exciting and a little scary. But hey, this is a show. Let's make it interesting. We do not want our listeners to be falling asleep. So, let's go. So, first thing, I am not an atheist. I am aware of the universal mind and how it governs the universe. Let's leave it at that. It is a long story. Thing number 2 that is interesting to know about me. My work is endorsed, sold, and licensed by the world's biggest names. I do very well, most would say, especially being a quadriplegic. Well, I live in affordable income housing and receive food stamps. Do not try to adjust your streaming platforms. You heard it right, affordable income housing and food stamps. Another very long story. And finally, third thing that is curious about me. By the way, if you are hearing this right now, I would like to give a huge thank you to the producers and the host of Phantom Electric Ghost for upholding honest journalism. And now, dear listener, it is story time. In the beginning of year 2019, I was still grieving the passing of my mother. She passed away right before the 2018 holidays, about 3 weeks before her 66th birthday. I could not concentrate on anything, could not write or produce anything. I was too emotional. So in spring of 2019, I would watch TV, something on a lighter side, comedy majority of the time. Just something to lift my spirits. One of my favorite comedy shows to watch is Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry David. Love that show. Been watching it since 2007. At that time, the season of Curb Your Enthusiasm was featuring appearances by Lin-Manuel Miranda. At the same time, I saw the animated movie Moana. I realized that Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote songs for it. I was impressed, so I thought we both kind of do similar things. He sounds like a nice guy. Crazy idea, but it would be cool to reach out and introduce myself, I thought. And so, I went on the internet and found his website. I mean, it took less than a minute. On Lin-Manuel Miranda's website, I clicked on the contact email address. I remember the email address had word philanthropy in it. In the email, I introduced myself and asked if it was okay for me to share the latest book of my series, and if yes, to what address should I send. Now, I never expected a reply. Seriously, why would someone like that bother with me? That is why 3 days later, I was completely blown away to see a reply from Lin-Manuel Miranda's website. I was so excited, needless to say. The email said that this was Lin-Manuel Miranda's assistant, and she gave me the address. Before I continue, I would like mention a curious little event that happened few months prior to this. As a gift, my brother gave me a pen in a case. I was a little confused about his gift. Nice pen, but what am I to do with it? I cannot hand write. I don't know, he said, you might need it. So I remembered about the pen and I asked my caregiver, who is now my wife, to take 2 copies of my book and to sign them on my behalf. 1 copy to Lin-Manuel Miranda and 1 copy to his assistant. The copy to Lin-Manuel Miranda was signed with a special message from me. Then, the 2 copies were sent with USPS, with tracking and signature required at the time of delivery. I tracked the package. It was received and signed for few days later. 2 weeks after, I replied to the email once again, thanking for the opportunity to share my work. There was never a reply. In 2021, my father passes away. When the movie Encanto was released, I was still recovering from yet another loss. But everyone is singing it and watching it and singing it and watching it. Finally, I was like, what? Wait a minute. But what's happening? Dear listener, I think we better move on to the next topic of discussion.
Your website mentions the creation of music through hands-free, voice only. Can you walk us through the creative process and how you use voice to produce an entire song?
I do use the speech recognition that comes with Windows. Creating music by voice is extremely tedious and takes a huge amount of time and patience. Every click, every drag, every little adjustment with a mouse or a keyboard takes multiple voice commands. There are 2 methods by which I create music hands-free. I get WAV or MIDI samples from sample libraries. Then, I mix and master using a digital audio workstation. In my case, I have been using Acid since the 90s. Second method is that I come up with a chord progression. I give it to AI. It generates many versions of crap. Through pain and torture, I listen to version after version after version until I hear something that sounds workable. Then I go in and edit notes manually. After that, again, I use Acid to mix and master. One of the examples is Ghosts of Gorky Park, Crying Piano. And my dear listener, you can find it on any streaming platform. This accessibility is very significant. Every time you listen to Michael's lyric, 100% of my streaming royalties goes directly to Slice Out Hunger, a New York-based nonprofit that fights food insecurities across the United States.
Michael's lyric, the book series, inspires your music. Can you elaborate on the character dwelling between the walls and how their story translates into music?
Michael's lyric, the book series, is largely based on the events in my life. It attempts to connect with some of the most prominent questions of the humankind since the beginning. The book series starts with a wedding day. This awakens questions of companionship, relationship, love. In later chapters, the series has a recurring character. The character dwells between walls and makes predictions that nobody likes. More questions. Who am I? How do I be myself and still contribute to my community? These and many, many other questions are raised in the book, themes that are relatable to all people from all kinds of backgrounds. At least it is my sincerest goal and hope.
About recognition and impact, the BBC and Jim Caruso's cast party have recognized your work. What does it mean to receive such recognition, especially considering the unique nature of your music?
Yes, Michael's lyric music and artwork has received the attention from some of the biggest names on this planet. BBC, Warner Media, Google, just to name a few. This definitely inspires me to keep going. This lets me know that people care. By doing this, I let everyone know that there is still love and care in the world, and that you too should keep going.
Your artwork finds a home with Fortune 500 companies. How does your art connect with your music? And do you see a common theme within your creative expression?
Anything Michael's lyric has a common characteristic. It will take you on a journey. It will make you think. It will make you feel. Michael's lyric will not let you be stagnant.
About charity and process. 100% of your proceeds go to charity. What motivates you to be so philanthropic with your work?
Yes, as I mentioned, I love to share and give. My ego would like to leave it at that. However, that is not the only reason I give everything away. My caregiver and my apartment costs much more than anyone is willing to pay me for all that I produce. So I have no choice but to accept the assistance of state and federal funds. By doing this, I am not allowed to receive any income in any form.
Due to difficulties, you prefer pre-recorded interviews. Can you share some of the challenges you face and how you think this interview format impacts the audience experience?
Dear listener, I do apologize for not being able to be live with you today. As you are listening to an artificial voice, please understand that my speech can be very difficult to understand. What you are listening to right now took 3 days and about 12 hours to type out. Most of it I typed on my smartphone by using the tip of my nose. This is back-breaking, especially with cerebral palsy. Why did I not use the voice command on my Windows desktop, you say? Well, my computer room is not air-conditioned and does not have a window that can be opened. It is too hot in there in the summer. The temperature gauge goes over 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So once again, I ask for your forgiveness. Despite the fact that you are listening to a voice that was generated by artificial intelligence, it is my sincerest hope that you have felt the human in the words that I have painstakingly typed for you, letter by letter, with my nose.
If you could have a live performance with any artist, who would it be and why?
If I could have a live performance with any artist. Wow, that is a tough one. There are so many artists that I admire. My favorite music artist is John Hopkins. However, he does not produce songs with lyrics. So for a live performance, I would have to say Sia. She is an amazing songwriter. She really understands what it takes to create a truly great melody or rhythm. Her lyrics are very emotional, very passionate. I identify with the way Sia crafts her songs.
What advice would you give to aspiring musicians or artists who want to create a unique voice and leave a positive impact on the world?
My advice for aspiring artists. Number 1, stay as independent as possible. I know that it is tempting when someone offers to financially support your artistic endeavors. However, you must remember that in return, they will want something. Number 2, get in public eye, whether by performing or doing anything that has to do with your passion. Do not sit on a couch, hoping for social media to get you noticed. The only thing that will get you is that eventually, someone will like something that you have created and will use it without giving you any credit.
Do you have any plans to venture into live performance format in the future, perhaps with the technological advancements?
Bringing Michael's lyric to stage as a performance act was always the goal. Even before I wrote my first lyrics, yes, the ones about a wedding day that never happens, my main target was to bring my songs to the stage. Of course, before attempting that, I knew that I had to have an outstanding catalog of music. So from about year 2000 to 2021, I wrote many lyrics, and many demos were produced. Over the years, I contacted countless of organizations, including record labels, asking for assistance with production of my songs. Finally, after the passing of my father in 2021, I decided to do it myself. So on a shoestring budget, I did exactly that. Michael's lyric is a critically acclaimed, multi-genre music catalog comprised of pop, hip-hop, rock, EDM, and cinematic instrumentals. Next step is to figure out how to bring all that music to the stage. This will be tough to figure out. I do not think that one vocalist would be able to do all of my material. I would need a male vocalist, a female vocalist, and a DJ at least. What incentive would they have, since everything is going to charity? Ticket sales from the events? The only way to convince anyone to do that is to guarantee a reputable event promoter with a large venue. I do not have that kind of money. As far as bringing Michael's lyric to stage with the help of technology, again, I do not have the money to develop something like that. Although, even if that was doable, same question. Who will facilitate and promote such performances? And with these thoughts, dear listener, I will end today's communication. Thank you so much, Phantom Electric Ghost, for having me. It has been an absolute pleasure. Stay well, stay strong, and always stay curious.
I want to thank Michael's lyric for being a guest on the Phantom Electric Ghost podcast. It's been an awesome experience, and we're glad that we've been able to do this in a non-traditional way to put this interview together and get it out there for the world. We want everybody to check out Michael's work. Go to https://www.michaelslyric.com and check out all the music he has to offer the world. We appreciate that you've been listening to the podcast today, and this will be on all platforms where you can listen to or watch a podcast. It'll be like a lyric type video on YouTube and Facebook, and we appreciate all of our fans and do encourage you to click on the hyperlink to www.michaelslyric.com. I want to thank Michael for being a guest on the Phantom Electric Ghost podcast, and as always, everybody be safe out there, and thank you for listening.